Good afternoon. This is Rudolf from Germany. I am addressing today specifically Afro-American people. I might be probably the first white man, Aryan German man, who is admitting something to you. I took a long time to think about this video which I'm showing you, a very short one, about the white race. Many of you dark-skinned people, in America mainly, have had a suspicion for a very long time. White people are not really human. And this suspicion has been around for a long, long time. And like any suspicion which is around for a long, long time, there is a little bit of truth to it. I want to admit today to you that white people originating from Northern Europe are called not aliens, they are called Aryans. Sorry about that, my brain don't function so well today. These white people are not really human from this earth like black people are, Indian people are, Asian people are. Yes, they are all humans. We white people are actually a minority, and we are, let's face the truth, also called the tall whites. Not all of us are tall, not all of us are completely white, but in general that's what it is. And as some of you may know, the tall whites are not really earthly human, but we're coming out of space, out of another galaxy. We are not human as the rest of the human race. We came here from another star, we white people, in order to control the world. We white people all have a secret code, a secret language under each other. We know, no matter how nice we pretend to be, we all stick together in order to control the other races, particularly the black race. And I am feeling so bad about it by now that I had to speak out here on this video and admit it. White people are not human. White people, including myself, all stick together, know the truth which they do not want to admit to you. White people are out of space. We come from another galaxy. We all know our home planet, which we don't want to reveal because we don't want to be attacked. And we have no good intention with you. We do not want to share our wealth with you. We do not want to share our knowledge with you. You have been mistreated hundreds of years ago, and this is very, very bad. And your chances in life, to the most of you, many of you have no chance in life. You can sit and wait for work on a corner with your other friends, and work will never arrive to you. It's very, very hard, I know. And we rich people, we white people, we alien people don't want to share what we have with you, so you have a good time. This is my testimony in public. White people are from another planet. We white people all know. Good afternoon. This is Rudolf from
your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black Minds News Report. Black Minds News is the report. Articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, website, or quotes from publications. As I articulate this information at the Creator of the Universe, be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit, because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created this land that you call the United States, we, the today's children, offspring, and present generation, we give honor to our ancestors. You know the motto of my show is, I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. Today's date is June 26, 2020. Another episode of the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Question is for today, does being black cause a civil war? You know I'm going to say that again. Does being black causes civil war? I've seen some articles today. Some of the stuff that's coming out of some of the people's mouths is like, I always thought, according to the way history is written, that people have wars about things that are such of a disagreement. How can one who's been in a position of oppression be the thorn in your side of your existence? Right? So we're going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to talk about did you see, as the thumbnail showed you, there was a woman on there that was in Florida. Some things took care that you seen the old supposed to be banned, but it seemed like it's just part of the tactics. So we also going to talk about this 720 bill that they supposedly passed in one part. We're going to get into that. So just stay tuned as we get into this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing, everybody? Again, this is your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. First and foremost, before we get started, I want to say what's good to my fam, my subscribers. All 2.9 thousand, fluctuate from 28 to 26, down to 25. Can't get 3,000 no matter what you do. See, every day I do a damn video, I can't get 100 views, but somebody seems to always unsubscribe. Yeah, I know it's one of you most sitting up in here. That's all good. But to my fam, what's good, y'all? Hope that everything is going well for you and yours. If you happen to be a new subscriber, welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of internet. If you happen to be a passerby, due to the thumbnail might have got you to come over here, or the title in itself, go down the aisle. We always got a grand opening. If you happen to see something to make you feel some kind of way, remember the motto of my show is the truth don't need no partner. Now, as I was just here talking about and saying, you know, it's like people have a thorn in their side because, that's just the history that has been with us, right? A lot of people just didn't have issues because I don't know how, if you're in a privileged position, you've been in the position that everything goes right for you, that are people who many will say when it talks about reparations, right? When they say people want to be reparated for, let's say, for the wrongdoings that people would admit to that it's wrong. But when it comes to rectifying and remedy it, people seem to have a problem with it. And the kickstand they always say is, well, I personally, or my family, we weren't here for it. But the question becomes, if that is so true, as y'all say, if that's true, then how are we in this heightened state right now where words are coming out of people's mouths who are using the term civil war, right? Now you work And again, if you're abusive in your job and there needs to be some remedy, because let's just say, for instance, those who are under the mantra or marquee of serve and protect, when they come to your home, right? When they come to your home, and if you out of pocket, they deal with you according to the law, right? They don't allow you just to, do as you want and come as you go. They say, according to the law, I have to deal with you in the same way. But why is it not good for the goose? It's not good for the gander. Why is it that if you going to be up and beyond the realms of what the game is supposed to play, there's penalties for everybody? What makes you above everybody else? And then because you have to be reprimanded, you understand? You all out of pocket. You want to lash out in fame because you're not able to just willy-nilly do whatever you want. And so the question becomes, as more and more stories keep coming, we keep seeing and things are being revealed, and we kind of see the thing that's underneath the cover. And people are saying things that I think we just need to be taking, taking a mental note of the things that are being stated. But the question becomes, does being black causes a civil war? What is it about we as black people in this land that could irk somebody with such ferocity and hatred and ill will spirit to the fact that they want to see you don't even exist anymore? Right? Think, man, I don't even want to see the existence of you. I can enjoy all the things of the gifts that you got that gives me entertainment, some pastime. I love the way that your coordination and your timing, but something about your existence, when I can't, outside of that, I have really no use for you. Now, I'm not going to say blanket and say that's every individual of that, but as that individual that you've seen in the beginning of this video talked about, this Rudolph from Germany, and he states the things that I didn't say, he says it. He says that when it comes to this, what we have defined as a human being, that there is a difference between one and the other. Now, science also has said that when they talked about the Neanderthal blood that connects itself, that goes into Europe, and that those who come from the continent, they deem were the humans. Now, this is not what I'm saying. This is what science has said. And yet, people try to deem that these particular people here, especially when we talk about this country, we as BADOS in this land, that because of your laws have said, well, you are not deemed human because we say you're not human. We deem you not to be equal to us because we say you're not equal. We oppress and we make it inconceivable in our mind that by deeming that and making that to be so because we said so, it allows you to be mistreated and do all the things that you have done. But now that the time has come where it is the unveiling, the revelations of the things that had been hidden, and they are being seen by all eyes, and those things that used to be once upon a time are the things that could hide, and now those things that can be seen, one does not. It's kind of like using an analogy like Dracula, right? You have people who are like Dracula at night. He is who he is, right? As long as he don't come by no mirror and ain't no sunlight, Dracula is in his natural, his natural inhabitants. But once that sunlight comes up, and once that reflection of yourself is there, it reveals certain things, right? It just starts to reveal certain things about you. And so Rudolph said that difference between one and the other is the simple fact that, as he said, now, again, I don't know, who am I to argue with somebody who is, he is up top of the line, he's the top echelon when it comes to the game. When we're talking about whiteness, he is that. He's German, Aryan, he is that. He is all that what they say they are. But he has a story behind it. So Are we to take what he say as true? Or is he just a loon that's saying some things that I don't, like you had a crazy drunk uncle who says some things. I don't pay him no attention. He's always talking. He just but, or are we to take, sometimes they say that those people who are crazy and eccentric seem to sometimes be knowing what they're talking about, right? So, we're going to get into this here because, again, like I said, it's just the fact that people seem to be, and it's not everybody, but it's, like I said, these stories that, again, like yesterday's show, I was talking about how there's somebody is trying to reverse the position to make we as BADOS, like we're the culprits. Like we are the ones, the antagonized. We are the ones who cause all this mischief on people. I'm like, when the last time anybody read a damn history book? Right? Like, you might see what has happened due to what then caused a spiritual rising about just centuries of just mistreatment and everything else. And people came up and said, you know what? It was old song was that Twisted Sister. We're not gonna take it. You remember that those back in the 80s? Because back those on the music in the 80s when the videos came out, you ain't had no real choice there. You had to see what the hell they was just playing. And sometimes we as BADOS had to watch what according what was on, right? So sometimes we seen things like that. Some of us, we don't like talking about them areas because, it was a multicultural before multicultural became what you call kind of trendy now. It was multicultural and didn't have no choice because you could only nickel dime us in. So in order to see our favorites, we still had to watch other people, right? But anyway, so, it gets to the point where we just say, damn, man, does my existence as a black person causes you so much pain and anguish that only for you to feel some comfort of mind? Not because maybe my existence, maybe it's just before the simple fact that some people, because the way you've been, let's say, you've been bred a certain way that when you see somebody who, the way you defined it, always have to be in a position of how they saying this kneeling now. But now that you start to stand up, and not so much about in a stance that would be considered like let's say I'm being combative with you. But if you can deem yourself to be a man and another man want to be a man, why does that irk you? Why does you see the progression of another people who history has told you that these people have been in a position that everybody, even people from other countries, when they come here, when they get in their feelings and want to talk a little bit of that, they throw that at, we've never been slaves, right? Why is that like that hurt? That don't hurt us because you know why? We embrace that. That's why that's why the title is BADOS, Black American Descendants of Slaves. We embrace our ancestors. We haven't run from it. Now the problem is everybody try to use that as some way to demark us or to bring us down. But we embraced it. And now that we embraced it, and you can't hurt us with that, and it's like saying like we absorb shocker or a sponge. We taking all your negativity, all your hate, everything that you done built to try to put us and make us this thing that you want us to be. And after all that you threw, what was it say? And still I rise. So what makes a person got all this that want to get rid of you? It can't be because if anybody who's ever been in competition and somebody who can't compete with you don't have enough skills against you, there ain't no competition. I won't care what you did, whether you took steroids, whether you took some kind of enhancement, it wouldn't make a difference because guess what? You can't compete with me. But obviously, the way that some other people are looking at stuff, it must not be true what they think they say. Because if it was, when you incapable, you incapable. There's nothing to, enhance that disability. If according to what they said, well, you was created to be a disability. Your intellect, your mind, you're always going to be beneath me. But if you got to rig the game, you got to make everything in it to make that what you say to be true, then it must not be true. Then when you see the trueness of it and it does in opposite of what you want it to be, oh, you become offended now. Oh, shit, look at this. So the only thing you do is because of, let's say, population, my numbers, It's kind of like when I look back in the days, I'm not saying that people didn't get jumped, but I see more in the more modern day, they jumping somebody, 3, 4, 5 dudes. Yeah, dog, slapping hands. Yeah, dog, we whooped his ass, dog. And this 5-on-1, that's kind of like some Bruce Lee movie shit, right? 5, 10 motherfuckers fighting one cat, and then everybody talking about, yeah, we whooped his ass. But when it's mano a mano, right, it's a different fight. So if I have to stockpile and do all this other stuff, then that tells me, like, there's kind of like there's a weakness in there somewhere. Right? There's a little weakness in there. But, we've been programmed to think you say greatest when you got all this other stuff, and then you make everybody else can't have it, and that makes you great. Right? It makes you great. So anyway, enough of that, right? But that's the theme here. Does being black causes civil war? Why does being black got to be a civil damn war? What is it that about us that makes you so in your crawl? But yet, if we was to say, if we going to put evidence for evidence to validate someone's claim, if you can validate it, if everything you say, what you say, you can validate it and prove it, then it would be justified. But when you can't justify it, then you have to ask yourself, why you need to try to create something that ain't there? Then it's really a telling of you personally, who you are personally. So, let me show y'all this here, man. I'm going to start the show off with this here. I seen this the other day. And, what's up, Black Beauty, always? I see you out there. What's good to you and your fam as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'll play this here. I seen this story came out yesterday. And I want you to see this. Just want y'all to see it. So we ready to do this? Check this out, y'all. We be right back after this. And let's get it.
Because ultimately it's actions like this that let people know that, first of all, let officers know that if they're going to do bad stuff like that, it's not going to be acceptable.
New at 5, facing criminal charges, a Miami Gardens police officer taken off the streets last week, accused of kneeling on a woman's neck, is now on the other side of the law. The officer was working off duty at a club in Miami Gardens when the incident happened. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live in Miami Gardens with the charges that officer now faces in this case. Ted.
Yeah, Lauren, the state attorney's office is saying this is just senselessly wrong. They're talking about an incident that happened here in this parking lot. This is Tootsie's Cabaret. Now, a former Miami Gardens police officer is under arrest, and we are seeing some new cell phone video that was crucial in the FDLE's investigation.
I got kneeling on her neck. Why are you kneeling on her? Get back!
It's difficult to watch as Sophia Satchel is repeatedly tased after being pulled from her car while an officer's knee is on her neck. It happened in January in the parking lot of Tootsie's Cabaret. Former Miami Gardens police officer Jordy Yanis Martel is accused of giving false information on his report and using excessive force.
Once forcibly removed from the car, Martel took Miss Satchel to the ground. And once on the ground, Martel allegedly used excessive force by putting his knee on Miss Satchel's neck and drive tasing her 2 times.
Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle said in the report, Martel said Satchel was resisting arrest, forcing him to use his taser twice. Investigators say the video tells a very different story.
Martell states that Satchel continued to fight by kicking and punching, and the video allegedly reflects that at the time of the first drive stun by Martell, Satchel was on her back, on the ground, with Martell's knee on her neck.
Then she was tased a second time.
At that point, she was not kicking the officers. And at the time of the second drive stun, the situation had not changed. She was still not kicking the officers.
Satchel's attorney released a statement saying, in part, if you're an officer that has broken policy or acted under color of law with a belief that black lives don't matter, you ought to be looking over your shoulder because the chickens have finally come home to roost. Miami Gardens Mayor Oliver Gilbert says the arrest sends a message.
Ultimately, it's actions like this that let people know that, first of all, let officers know that if they're going to do bad stuff like that, it's not going to be accepted. But let members of the public know that there's going to be accountability built into this system.
The police union released a statement saying, we are concerned that the recent nationwide events surrounding law enforcement played into today's actions. And Martell is in jail tonight. He's facing 2 counts of official misconduct as well as 4 counts of battery. His bond was set at $6,000. By the way, he was fired last week and is also under investigation for a separate case. Live in Miami Gardens, Ted Scout, CBS 4 News.
We are back, right? We're back, right? I got somebody up in here trying to do what you do on the sideline, but that's okay. So we see here situation, right? Let me go and get up into this here. So we see a situation that you just seen on the video, that a former Miami police officer was charged with battery and misconduct after the video that you just seen, that he had a knee on a woman's neck. They never did identify who the woman is. And as you seen in the video, you seen using a stun gun, and it was on her, and it even was kind of like close down to the private part area too, wasn't it, right? If you didn't see that, you go back and look and see it again. But it was on outside of a strip club. And this story is a little bit older now. This story goes back to like January, right? So due to the simple fact of the, some people say pandemic, right? We're just going to say the pandemic, right? So these are some of the stories that got buried, right? Because of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 also is SARS-CoV-2, right? And so this happened back in January earlier this year. And then it was just Thursday that the Florida attorney had announced that the officer name is Jordy Jans Martell, who's 30 years old. And it looks like he turned himself in on Thursday. Initially, he was held with a $6,000 bail, right? And it says that despite, arrest documents being released in the case, they were without the usual information regarding the arrest that took place that night. So somehow the records are not, they can't find the records. Whatever was said that night, you know how it is when we work at places, right? Need somebody to do some cover-up work for me, right? So also the fact that, let's see, there's some other stuff going on over here, right? I got a lot of stuff going on here. But it says that, again, this story goes back to like January 14th of this year. And it was outside of a club in Miami. And actually her name was Safia Satchel. She's 33. And she had left due to unhappy with the service, according to what the arrest in the affidavit from Martell, which is the police officer, right? Now, she was unhappy about something that happened at the club. Now, what you didn't hear in the story is the fact that she was in her Mercedes SUV when contacted by the police officer, right? And what you've seen there, you've seen her on the ground, but you never seen them showing her being inside the vehicle. And so, according to what the story talks about, it talks about that a manager had asked the police officer, I guess the police officer was off-duty working security. You know how they do, and they be off moonlighting, have a second part-time job. And so, according to the manager having her that was working there, had the off-duty go over there, but he was still in uniform. Now, he off-duty, but he in his uniform, right? So they give him the presence that to make people again, so you don't get into all that. We get all that, right? And so, according to what they said, the manager wanted to issue her a trespassing warning. Because why? She threw a tip at the waiter or the server of the club. So this whole thing systemic because, again, she was unhappy about whatever took place inside of the club. According to what they say, that she was going to tip the server, but based on her being unhappy or whatever it was, either both y'all had stank attitude, a little drunk, whatever it might be, you threw the tip at it, and so she was leaving. But that wasn't good enough. Manager was like, no, he wanted her to go out there and give her a warning, and that's what initiated this whole thing. Okay, it was this so-called initiating this trespassing warning. Now, what do you mean by trespassing? Was it ladies' night? Did you pay to get in? Right? Was it lady night? Was it free night? Or did she pay to get in? So, you know how something like I say, people have a way how to get funky with you when they want to, right? You try to use the loopholes to, find a way to get people in certain situations. So you're going to try to use the old trespassing. Now, wait a minute. If I'm buying a drink, means I was already in your establishment, but okay, you maybe don't like the way it is, so so you create the situation, right? But you see that somebody was out there with a cell phone, and then you also have the officer's body camera, which we didn't see that. From the angle, what we see is somebody looking at what's going on. So there can't be the cameras of the police officers, right? And so we see that whoever that is sitting there watching it, and you can see how that's going down. You also see the cop having his knee in her neck, right? She had a knee in her neck, right? Now, again, this has become synonymous because of what we all witnessed that went back on May 25th, 2020 with the George Floyd situation. Now, if I was a police officer, I think I would be very cognizant about doing certain things. And then the fact that this is a woman, based on when you look at it versus his girth and size versus her, is it really, an appropriate protocol for you to do what you needed to do to apprehend that? Now, again, we know that, when it comes to being arrested, a lot of people are not compliant because, please don't take me to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Nobody wants to really go to jail unless you're doing shit that you ain't supposed to be doing. And, the consequences at the end is you could be going to jail. But a lot of people get in a situation and not thinking that jail is it. But see, once you start seeing the boys in blue, start seeing them lights, right then and there, it's like, oh shit, the possibility of you going to jail going to be right there. But so what we see is that the officer tell her that she either walks to the vehicle or I'm going to get you out of the car. Now, based on that's what the article said. Either to walk to the vehicle or I'm going to get you out of the car. Now, how can you have, those are two different things. Walk to the car or I'm going to get you out of the car. What do you mean? Right? But that's what they said in the article. They were talking about that. And so what's funny is that the young lady said her father is a police officer. She tells him that. She said, you know what? My father is a police officer, right? And he was like, I don't care about that. Now, you know why he told you he didn't care about that. Why? What was it about? Oh, because maybe you don't have the protection for the complexion. So he didn't care. There was no camaraderie. It was just the fact that I'm the authority right now, and this is what I'm saying, but I'm giving you a confusing order. I'm telling you to walk to your damn car, but then I'm also going to get you out of the damn car. Again, was he drunk too? But that's what they say, right? So accordingly, she tell the officer to pull me out of the car. And he did, right? So he tell her to pull out the car. She tried to prevent him from doing so. And so what you end up seeing is the officer use a leg sweep to put Satchel on the ground. He leg swept her, right? Ain't that something? He leg swept her. Placed the knee on her neck. And that's what we seen, right? And so it was her friend that was there. Now, Raheem Stotts Fleming, that was the individual who the video that we using to show what happened. Now, check this out. Do you not know that the security who was at the establishment ended up coming and telling him that he needed to delete the video? I'm going to say that again. Do you know that the security guard, now again, it says security, so I'm not saying, now again, sometimes when they do an article, what they're going to do, they're going to confuse you because they're saying, wait, you know what, the security. Now, wait a minute, are we talking about the same individual who ended up this Martell, or are we talking about another individual? But now they're saying the security told the friend that was with her, he better delete that. Now, why is it that, see, that's what we're talking about, this double standard of shit. If you ain't doing no fuck shit, then you ain't got to worry about nobody. You get what I'm saying? But when you doing that, again, am I sitting here saying that I'm immune to, facts and truth that I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if everything you doing is copacetic and is under the book, you don't care about nobody videotape it. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. I'm doing my job. But when you done did some stuff that takes you, the gray area, outside of the boundaries of what your parameters of jurisdiction is, then yes, you're going to have issues, right? And so what we see is that the affidavit talks about she had abrasions and bruises, and then according to they said that as she was arrested, they checked her out at the scene by paramedics before being booked by a nearby police station, right? And what they end up doing later, now, you know why they did that at the scene, because based on, her yelling, screaming, as you seen it, it made you feel some kind of way. Don't think that it did. I know it made you feel some kind of way because, when we talk about domestic violence and when people be in their homes and things go down, when you hear, and let's say it's not you per se, but let's say you live in a building, a condominium or something, you hear neighbors and it sound like that. You hearing a woman screaming like that, right? And something touches you like, hey, man. A lot of people don't like to get involved because myself, have friends who done intervene or parents who done intervene and lost their lives trying to help. And sometimes they both end up turning on you. So a lot of people try to stay out of it. But when you hear a woman in distress, the main thing is that you perk up and like, okay, what's going on here, right? So but in this case here, job come first, right? In the domestic situation, when they come and the man in that situation, the man normally going to jail, whether it was physical or not. It's just the fact that the neighbors called and they came. Well, you guilty until we sort all this shit out, right? You going to sit on this, cold steel, eat this fat bologna sandwich until you see the judge. And then you work it out and come back and the whole nine, those who have been through all that, right? But we see that after all that we seen on that video, you know what happened? The charges on her were dropped. Now, why would you drop the charges after all that? Because why? Look at the whole scenario, what went down. Right? Look at the scenario that went down. Okay, you had a unhappy customer, right? You got a business, you got an unhappy customer. As a person who owns the business, and sometimes people are not satisfied with service or product or whatever it is, you don't throw them away. Don't you try to work it out with them to try to get them back to make it so you can keep this steady customer? But that ain't what you did. You antagonized the customer. You didn't try to kind of rectify the situation. Yeah, she might have been a little funky, but there may be a cause and effect in that situation. But that ain't what you wanted. You wanted to do it the way you wanted to do it. So get whatever happening. So the whole situation got fucked up. I ain't got real toe up in that. Now you got police. He looking bad. Videotape. Now you the one gave the order. So guess what now? Lawyers involved. You seen the brother up there? That his brother name was Jonathan Jordan. He's the one that's representing Satchel, right? Now, again, you heard what he said. It's a long overdue to civilian oversight for our city. Now, according to there, they don't have the oversight. They don't have nobody who watches the police, right? You know, that's kind of what's going on right now. Everything talking about defunding and all this stuff. People talking, hey, man, well, we need somebody to have some oversight. These motherfuckers running out here, you know, with no restrictions. And then they get mad because it got to be restricted. But if we take all the preponderance of the evidence that has been shown, what we're going to end up seeing. It's not going to look good. Now, again, you know, like with Rodney King, you can see him get beat down like that, and they'll tell you what your eyes is lying to you. Let us tell you what you're seeing, right? You know how they do it. So he talked about the police department to ensure the officers are just serving but protecting our community. If an officer that has broken policy or acted under the color of law with belief that black lives don't matter, you ought to be looking over your shoulder because the chickens have finally come home to roost. You know that brother Muslim? You heard that's why he came with the Malcolm, right? Malcolm did the fingers like, that's too much power for one man right there, right? That's too much power for one man. But that's what he's saying. He's like, look, hold on, man. We not going to sit here and keep allowing y'all to keep just being abusive. And because we've kind of taken a stance on that, people feel like we taking over the damn country. Yet, video after video and article after article and situations. And it's like, wait a minute. Do you see all this shit piling up over here? It's one thing when before we got into what we say the technology of having videos to see every damn thing, it used to just be stories. And they used to always say, black guys, go to jail, say, everybody say they're innocent in jail. Yeah, they said, everybody in jail said they're innocent, right? But now that you got the damn evidence to show it, that it's like, okay, you can't use that now. So what you gonna do now is you're getting mad because it's seeing it. So now they're talking about reforming, but we're gonna get to that because I want y'all to see what they did on that so-called policy, and I'll get to that when we get there, right? Right? So the brother sat there, you know what I'm saying, that Jonathan Jordan said, hey man, look, we ain't gonna sit here and do that. We're gonna make this money up off you, but we're gonna try to do something to try to put a little heel. You know, your dog out here running wild, we need to put a leash on him, right? So it looks like that according to the arrest affidavit, now you know that was the police officer who had to write a report. And based on what he wrote in that damn report, he lied on that arrest report. He lied about the situation. And that's what a lot of people think, that you think you can lie about some stuff and make the lie truth, make it straight. No, the truth is like the flat line, like, you know, the lie is like what was the machine when you're on it, boop, 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 right? When up and down, that's the lie. Truth is when you dead, it's flat, no movement, can't move left, no right. It is what it is, right? So he went in there, wrote a report thinking that, again, when you lie, you don't think somebody can't see through the lie. Now, when you brand new like that and you be trying to go to your parents and you be saying something, a lot of times they let you get away with shit. But, you know, the one will be looking at you like, yeah, okay, they keep running that bullshit. They be wrong. Okay, go ahead. Right? So, obviously, he had no reason to arrest her. Right? He didn't ever inform her of being arrested. He used excessive force. And guess what they say? He faces 4 counts of official misconduct and 2 counts of battery. But the problem is BADOS, where the problem is because you won't comply. You will not assimilate. You will not let me do whatever I want to do to you. And that's a problem. And people are getting angry. Can you believe that? And so what we see is the lawyer stood there and said he's here to affirm the chief's decision to terminate him. Because of the operative word is former. He is now a former police officer. Now, some people might say, well, Mr. Blow, like you're taking the police. I'm only doing what the news say. These are the stories that are more prevalent. And some people say, why do we keep talking about this? We got to keep talking about it for the simple fact that, guess what? We don't have a a thorough history of what happened going back when we didn't have all this. So we're documenting now, whether this YouTube and social media still be standing years and decades and half centuries later, but those who to come to kind of see and get a feel of what it was like. It's kind of like The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. A lot of the people who were not born at that time got to see The Last Dance, and you got to get to see what it was like to see what they consider the GOAT in his heyday and doing what he was doing versus what you see now. And that's the same thing what we do when we talk about this black corner of the internet and black media and so forth. That's what we're doing, right? It's kind of like a documenting of the time. So what happened is the preponderance of it makes a particular people not look too good. But if we was going to their archives and the stuff that they did, we don't look good. So what we're doing is we're trying to balance some of this, right? It's not we lying about shit. And they know we're not lying about shit, right? But that's just how it go, right? You know that's how they do it. But that's what that story is there, right? So can you believe that? That, over unhappy customer that could have went fatal just on the way you was doing it. And she was resisting it because, yes, you're not supposed to be resisting with police officer, right? But if you're in a position where somebody is violating you, and that's the thing that why the reform needs to be done is because people say, I'm being violated and my hands are tied is because one, you're trying to respect the fact that you are an authority, but if you're abusing your power and it comes to the point where my life is there, whatever a person's supposed to do. Like we all sat there and we watched George Floyd. Now, some people might say that it was a hoax. Some people, you got people out here saying that, right? But based on what we've seen and what we believe, what we've seen, right? We seen a man that seemed like, okay, y'all got him down. What else more could he do? He's already handcuffed, but that wasn't good enough. So when does it come as a civilian that you can change that and become his defense? And it's like you're never to be in a defense state because they say you comply. But we're seeing all these stories where it's like people complying and still it don't matter, right? That's what that story is there, right? That's that story there. So I got another story here done. This is an update on the brother here. And before we go there, let me go ahead and let's go ahead and no, we don't got to do that. We go ahead and go right into this. So go up with this update. I should have did the other day. I didn't, but we're going to do it now. So check this out and I'll be right back.
Officially indicted on felony charges in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery in a Brunswick neighborhood. And as of today, Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and William Roddy Bryan are all facing the same 9 charges. The district attorney made the announcement of the indictments this afternoon.
So she's said it's one step closer to justice. Charges in the indictment include malice and felony murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment. It is a 6-page document. And News4JAX reporter Maggie Lorenz has been digging through it all this evening. Maggie, we're learning more about where each charge comes from.
That's right, Scott. We now have more context surrounding each of these 9 charges. The murder malice charge, according to the indictment, says all 3 of the accused men unlawfully and with malice chased Arbery through the Satilla Shores neighborhood with pickup trucks, then shot him with a 12-gauge shotgun. Cobb District Attorney Joyette Holmes called this today a step forward in justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
The family is grateful. They were unable to be here today, but we called them as soon as we got the indictment returned today.
2 attorneys for the Arbery family reiterating the family's thankfulness. Benjamin Crump said in part, the grand jury looked at the facts and found compelling evidence to bring malice and felony murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment charges against Ahmaud Arbery's killers. This confirms what Ahmaud's father has been saying for months, that this was a lynching. Attorney Esley Merritt also tweeted, the family of Ahmaud Arbery is determined to see these men prosecuted, convicted, and appropriately sentenced for their actions.
Roddy did not act out of hate or prejudice.
After the announcement of the indictments, Roddy Bryan's attorney, Kevin Goff, asked for bail for Bryan, saying he poses no risk of fleeing nor is of any danger. Goff maintained his client's innocence.
Roddy and I continue to trust that in the fullness of time, District Attorney Pro Tempore Joyette Holmes will do right by Roddy. In the meantime, despite our differences, we continue to work closely with the prosecution to ensure that this case moves forward as expeditiously as circumstances allow. We welcome the action of the grand jury today. While we disagree with it, it's an important step in the process to moving this case closer to the speedy trial that Roddy has demanded.
Roddy Bryan, that's the man investigators say recorded the shooting of Arbery. The indictment says all three men are also charged with false imprisonment for using pickup trucks to chase, confine, and detain Ahmaud Arbery. The arraignment, which is the formal reading of the charges for all three of the men, has not yet been set. Bryan was supposed to have a bond hearing this Friday, but it got pushed back. We're reporting live tonight. I'm Maggie Lorenz, Channel 4, the local station.
We are back, right? So we back. So it looks like that they're now going to charge the three in the Ahmaud Arbery, but that's still no solace, right? There ain't no solace in that because, okay, now you saying malicious, a malicious murder, and looks like according to what I looked up on that, it's like you can get 25 to life, and now they got some other charges on it. But let's just say, like I was talking about on the last story there, or the last article there, that had happened during the pandemic, right? Like I said, we don't know how many stories have really been buried out there because the pandemic took over everything, right? And so when the dust kind of settled, Ahmaud Arbery's story came to fruition. And then we see how they played it from its origin, right? How it looks like that it was a cut, open and shut case. And based on the persistence of the family, they got the attention and got social media involved, and it's kind of like the same thing when you talk about with the Trayvon Martin situation, how they did the open and shut, and then the community got involved, and they at least brought them in to go through the process. So now when they go through the process, we come to find out all the shoddiness and the just blatant disrespect for the person's life and to save other people's lives. And then everything that done fell out now is that it was a conspiracy. Even the individual who said he was just nonchalantly watching, but he's trying to act as if like that he had no part in that, right? But they done now charged him as well with the other two. But I found something very interesting in this is the fact that the video when we see Ahmaud fighting the son, we see and we hear the gunshots, and based on them being in proximity of each other face to face, you assume that if he's shooting that shotgun, he's shooting him in the front, right? Right? Do you know what they say that where Ahmaud was shot? Do y'all know where he was shot 3 times? He was shot in his back. I'm going to say that again. He was shot 3 times in his back. So you have to ask yourself, wait a minute, based on what we've seen in the video of him tussling and rustling with the son, then how was he shot in his back? Who was shooting him in his back? So yeah, the family's not taking no solace in it. They're just saying, okay, this is a beginning process, and not until there's a conviction, right? And then will they feel, I don't know if you could ever feel vindicated. I don't know if it's really, really justice, but it's at least that, you know, for what the system we in and we living in now. Because the way right now, they only talking about them, right? Let's look at it this way too. They only talking about them. There's some other negligences that allow all this to get away in the first place, right? So when they gonna start talking about that, right? You understand what I'm talking about? How it get out? How did it go through the protocols? You know, as to, you know, how we end up saying that, okay, this case was closed. Certain people had to sign off, and all these people had to be conspirators in this. So it ain't just them. Where are the other ones at, right? But I guess there was time going, more of that stuff is going to be unfolded and revealed. But that was just an update to that, and I just wanted to bring that because, again, I'll get more in depth. Because matter of fact, I was working the show out during this time when the Aubrey. I got all the clips and everything. I think I put a little bit in one video, one show I did, but I really never got on the topic of it because when the way it first went down, I was looking at it and I had to kind of contemplate on it, and then things started slowly coming out, and I said, okay, and once all the stuff came out, then I was like, okay, but I'm gonna wait till later on to do it. But that's an update for those who may not have known, right? So let me go on to the next part here, right? Now, this story here, right, it's kind of like where the topic is we talking about, or at least the one I'm talking about is the foundation. Does being black cause civil war? I don't know if y'all heard this or not, but the situation happened in North Carolina, right? And so let me go ahead and play this for everybody, and we'll be right back. Check this out.
In the video, 3 longtime veteran Wilmington officers who've been on the job since the late 1990s, think about that, decades on the force, are heard saying some
I was getting an echo on that, right? I think there's an echo coming on that. So let me fix that. Yeah, there was an echo on that. Yeah, you got to fix that. Okay. There might be an echo on the beginning. It's going to go away. So check this out. I'll be right back.
In the video, 3 longtime veteran Wilmington officers who've been on the job since the late 1990s, think about that, decades on the force, are truly vile and racist things. With one of them flat out calling for a race war. This is a police officer who's been there for decades. Quote, "We're just going to go out and start slaughtering them effing N-words. I can't wait. God, I can't wait." In the video, 3 longtime veteran Wilmington officers who've been on the job since the late 1990s, think about that, decades on the force, are heard saying some truly vile and racist things. With one of them flat out calling for a race war. This is a police officer who's been there for decades. Quote, "We're just going to go out and start slaughtering them effing N-words. I can't wait. God, I can't wait." The officer adding that a civil war is needed to, quote, and I quote him here, "wipe them off the effing map. That'll put them back about 4 or 5 generations."
When I first learned of these conversations, I was shocked, saddened, and disgusted. There is no place for this behavior in our agency or our city, and it will not be tolerated.
We turn now to this story. Tonight, 3 Wilmington, North Carolina police officers have been fired after a routine audit of a patrol car camera uncovered what authorities describe as extremely racist comments toward African Americans. Here's CBS's Jeff Pegues.
An internal probe by the Wilmington Police Department reveals hate-filled conversations with 3 veteran officers. Officer Kevin Piner is heard telling Corporal Jesse Moore that the protest would soon lead to a civil war, and that he is ready. He goes on to tell Moore that he was going to buy a new assault rifle, and soon we are just going to go out and start slaughtering them expletive N-words. Piner says a civil war is needed to wipe them off the expletive map. That'll put them back about 4 or 5 generations. Later, during a phone call with Piner, Moore refers to a woman he arrested as the N-word and says she needed a bullet in her head right then. Donnie Williams is the department's new police chief. He fired the officers on his first day.
When you talk about killing people and generations of people, that is disturbing.
According to investigators, the officers blame their comments on the stress of today's climate in law enforcement. CBS News has reached out to the police union and the 3 officers for comment. So far, they haven't responded. Jeff Begay, CBS News, Washington. For a little technical difficulties on that there. Thank you for your patience. So we see in North Carolina to Wilmington that you have a situation that took place, right? You got a situation where police officers had got caught on an audit, right? I guess what it is Donnie Williams, who is the new chief of this Wilmington Police Department, just started his job. I think he got, if I'm not mistaken, on the June 24th, he was voted in by the council unanimously. And the first day that he started work was today or yesterday. So the day that he did the press conference, that was his first day as being a chief. And somehow they did an audit on some of them, and then they end up coming to find out that some of the recordings of the police officers that I will tell you who their names is. But that was Tuesday when all this came out. And the officer's name is James Gilmore, Jesse Moores II, and Kevin Piner, right? And so what we see is they didn't play that's the other thing too. They didn't actually show us the video, or we were able to hear the audio of it, but they told us what they found, right? They told us what they found. And so based on what you heard that supposedly had been said, and again, they don't give us a timeline as to when exactly that took place. They don't give us that part, right? Like where's that at? Because that could have been years ago, that could have been just weeks ago or a day ago. But accordingly, the individuals who are doing this talking, these are 3 veterans who've been police officers for over 20 years. I'm going to say that again. These are veteran police officers who've been on the force for over 20 years. And so based on these racist conversations, again, it said it's supposed to have been a routine audit that was coming off these dash cams. And according to it said they took them out the vehicle on June 4th, right? Now, they say the camera had accidentally been turned on, right? Now, according, we thought that the body camera is supposed to be on anyway. So it seemed that they have, I guess, the discretion to turn it on and off when they so choose. Matter of fact, the story that I did with the brother that was in Las Vegas, maybe two shows ago. What's that brother's name? It's slipping my mind right now. But what his situation was, chasing him with the bike, and they was only pulling him over supposedly because he didn't have no lights on. But he ended up dying, being accosted by them, and somewhere in those videos, all 7 of the cops turned their cameras off simultaneously. Then after when they turned it back on, he was dead, right? So they saying here, well, accidentally these were turned on, and subsequent recordings had been the conversation between Gilmore and Moore, right? That's what they say. It was between them two. And so they said Pioneer is seen in the video first talking to Gilmore. So it's 3 of them. Now what they do is, sometimes you see police when they pull up side by side with them and they talking with each other. And so they were having a conversation, and conversation was about what, y'all? Black Lives Matter protest, right? Black Matter, that protest, man. That protest got a lot of people upset, right? Whether right or wrong, depending on what side of the coin you on, but they feel like, and I got a story that talks about something with that as well. But in that conversation, it says the only thing this agency is concerned with is kneeling down with the black folks. This is what Pioneer is telling Gilmore, that this agency's only concern is kneeling down with the black folks. Meaning that, when they start showing police out there kneeling, there's a lot of people who took offense to that, right? There's also talked about those who know about Idi Amin, right, in Africa, right? And how Idi Amin was so strict with white folks when they came there to his country, they had to kneel before him. He took pictures of that, and they had to kneel, put their head down and praise him, right? So some people was making reference that was kind of like, like Idi Amin having y'all kneeling. But then people say, go to the scriptures and say, well, there's going to be a time when they would kneel before you, right? And so you can see that this individual here is having issues with that kneeling. He's saying he can't believe it. Like, what the hell are we out here kneeling for, right? And so he was watching all these videos on social media and white people bowing down and knees and worshiping black people. I had a video that I was going to show y'all. I don't know if any of y'all seen this. I think I ended up getting rid of the video. But there was a video that was out here, and some of y'all might have seen it. There was like that's what they call those, like a retreat, right? Like it was a religion retreat. And it was a whole bunch of white folks. And the black folks who was amongst their parishioners, they had them standing, all them was kneeling down. And it was raining and thundering, and they was sitting there and they was asking for forgiveness. Right? They was, what I'm saying? And the black people was, they was crying. I think they took that video off. I had that video, and I was actually going to put it on the show, but I was like, man, no. Because that's almost as bad as the courtroom scene. You get what I'm saying? It's almost as bad as that. But anyway, that's how he feeling. He feeling like, wait a minute, hold on. White folks out here worshiping black people. And so in the video recording, it says that Gilmore leaves, respond to a call, and then end up receiving a phone call back again from Moore, and they start having the conversation again. And where he went to go, he had arrested a black woman, so they were talking about it. And so he was talking about a time when he went before this, he called the judge, this magistrate, a fucking Negro. And this fucking nigga judge, right? He was complaining how the judge had questioned him about the decision to arrest the black woman that he had in the first place. He believed that they should have committed her to a mental institution. You know how they, you know what I'm saying? Again, if you're not cuffing the claw to BADOS, then it's like somebody who I'm observing from outside, you don't really understand, because, we've gone through all the shit everybody dish, and, there's certain attitudes and feelings and emotions that you see how people have, but that don't necessarily mean something wrong with them. That's just the condition of life that one has been succumbed to. And so here you who are outside come amongst them, and your evaluation may deem something, but that don't necessarily mean it's so. But to get them out your hair, or just, again, kind of like, I want to put you away any damn way, and based on the conversation you having, I don't think you like black folks too much any damn way, right? But he was talking about the judge and calling him the nigger judge, and, you know, he was mad that the judge wouldn't go along what he wanted to go along. Right? You know, he felt like the judge was giving favors to this black woman over him. I'm the police. You know, what I say is law, and you should back me, right? And so what happens is you see that Moore responded he wouldn't do that. Matter of fact, I got to go. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. He talked about a race war, right? He said something about that race war. As you heard, he said he was ready for the race war, right? That I'm ready for this. And this is, we could get rid of them, right? And this could get rid of them about 4 or 5 generations. And I'm ready to do this. And the other cat was like, hey, man, I ain't saying that. That's you saying that, right? I don't know about all that, but that's what he was saying. So this cat here, again, as I'm saying, what is it about we being black that make you feel like, damn, you know, I need a race war to get rid of you? What is our existence? Again, you got us cornered off. Now I ain't gonna say all of us, because some of us, we get up out of there. Well, you cornered, and your job entails that without them kind of people, what kind of job do you go to every day? You ain't got no damn job, right? But your whole thing is, that's what you want to do. I want to get rid of these people. They're a damn thorn in my side. Matter of fact, when you look at North Carolina history, right? There is a story. Well, it's not a story. I'll put it this way. Let me do this. Hold on one second. Where's that at? Let me see if I can get that. Because there's a history that happened back in 1889 where there was an insurrection where they took up arms and went against black people in Wilmington, right? Killed about so many black people, maybe 30 to 60 black people. And here's a person who in this day in 2020 feels like black people need to be, you know, taken down some. We need to be, you know, off our numbers. And he said about that'll get them be back about 4 or 5 generations. So what is it that you want to push us back to? Right? What is it that we doing that you feel like that it's a nuisance to you? Huh? That's my whole question. White person, what is it that black people do to you? What is it about the existence of progression? You always try to say, pull yourself by your bootstrap. Why don't you just comply? And when they do all that, then just like in this history I'm about to tell you, if I can get it, hold on one second here. Where is that at? Hold on. Where's that at? Let me see where that's at. Hold on one second. Let me tell y'all this right quick. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Let me see where that's at. Cause yeah, see, where's that at? Black Wall Street War car, that ain't it. Where's that at? You got to pull that up for me, sir. I need that pronto, right? We need that pronto. You gonna have to go on the other side and get it? Okay, go ahead and do that. We'll buy some time. All right, so what's up to you as well, Mr. Spencer 620 in the house? What's good to you as well, fam? Didn't see you there at the time, so I apologize for that. But I got a little history here about this North Carolina Wilmington that happened back in 1889, I think it was, right? I'm gonna have to put a help wanted in the window, man, because you slowing up my show. I almost got it down to where I wanted it, but you slow. You're slow here, right? Okay. Pull that up if you can get it. I can go up the top of the head, but I would like to be a little bit more on that. So if you pull that, but okay. So anyway, let's do it this way then. because it should be there. All right, that's all right. So anyway, in North Carolina, back in Wilmington, there was a insurrection because black people, during the time right before the Civil War, what happened was those are the freedmen. And at that particular time, our people had all the skills. So what they did is they tried to isolate themselves, build black economics, build them some, just like we talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, they did the same thing in Wilmington, North Carolina. And guess what happened? They decided to say, hey, you can't do that. You can't be better than me. Huh? Is that not a sickness? Is that not a sickness? That, you know, how they say, well, black people got this jealousy and crab barrel mentality. We got some crabs outside the can too, though, right? You get what I'm saying? Okay, if we in the can, right? Let's say if you can picture a barrel and crabs, and you who trying to get out, and then they say, well, the other crabs are grabbing you. Some people say the only reason they're grabbing because it's hot as hell in the pot. But okay, we can say that is the environment and the conditions. But you getting out. But even when you get out of the damn can, there's other crabs outside the damn barrel who trying to fuck you up too. Right? They trying to fuck you up too. And that'll be these other people here. So now you done got out the damn barrel, you trying to do some stuff, and then you got these motherfuckers over here doing shit too. But then they say we the damn problem. You get what I'm saying? How we the damn problem? Make me understand this. I already know, but I'm just saying, I want someone, if one you should hear me, because there's one that keep coming over here. He only come over here just to put that one, I don't like you. That shit don't bother me. But I'll put my damn phone on and we can sit right here live from everybody. We can have that conversation. We can have that conversation. Because I don't get it. I want y'all to explain that. Because I know you can't. The logic that you try to make that square peg put in that round hole ain't gonna never fit. Because what the truth of the matter is, we know what it is. So this reverse trying to make, oh, we the damn problem. How's that when we've been in the conditions? So there's something that it has something to do with Rudolph from Germany, what he said in the beginning of the show. It's something what he said. That's where the issue is. It's something he said, right? Anyway, but that's what happened, right? So here it is, cops who might be descendants from those who did what they did in history in Wilmington, North Carolina, and now say it's a good time for this to happen again so that we could purge them out and break them and get them down. Right? He ready to go do, huh? Man, boy. But ain't nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong. Everything you. Sad, man. It's sad to the fact that, you know, you've been conditioned. They say we've been under a condition, but other people have been conditioned in a way that they believe that everything that they think is right. No self-internalized looking at the situation and come to a real understanding that my ass is wrong. But I'm too far gone. I'm too sick in it that I can't turn back. I'm too far gone. Because you cannot rationalize what your shit is about. And if you tell us get over about history, then if it's some shit that happened before then, and you talk about history, then when you gonna get over it? Anyway, moving on. So, right. So anyway, we'll get to this part here. So did y'all hear this thing about with the George Floyd situation? I had more on that, but I can't. Body couldn't get it up, so we can't get up what I needed, so we can't go no more on that. But anyway, the point is, somebody as a police officer who been on the force for that long periods of time and got that kind of vitriol and animosity, then everybody that they done had came across, been arrested, all that got to be questioned. Everything got to be questioned between them three. That's 60 years worth of police work between the three of them. See? But then you lose your job, but you get to go on about your long head and go back and go somewhere else. But it's not that's gone. That still resides somewhere. that's still out here somewhere. But see, the new police chief said he trying to find a way to say, no, I think this is some criminal, and I'm going to try to figure a way to do it. Now, ain't that something like, a lot of times you work at a place and they get a new boss. Everybody know that new person who they hired, that new supervisor, got to do what? He got to fire somebody so he can pull his weight in there to make everybody get some tench hut when he come in the room. Let me say that again. You know when you work somewhere and they get that new supervisor, right? And everybody be like, oh, shit, now you got to get implemented what he or this one trying to do. But you know he got to get that notch on that damn belt because he got to fire somebody. So who on here on the tightrope? So this one came in on day one and got 3. And he's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead. I got 3. I done caught 3 fishes in one. And I'm going to go ahead because him being a black man that had just got put in that position. He said he come from the projects in Wilmington, and he's saying, look, I put in my mind that I could be somebody, and this is what I think, and if I can do it, you can do it. Then this is the first day he on getting his position as being the chief, and this is the shit he had to deal with. That's why you heard him in the conference sit there and say what he said. No, we ain't do this. We ain't playing that. So we'll probably hear more about this story as it develops more on, but that's just kind of crazy, right? The policeman talking about he can't wait till they pop off. We get this civil war going. My question to y'all is, what the hell is it that y'all trying to get a civil war for? What is it what's stuck in your craw about black people that you know damn well your ass love? You can't turn your damn TV, watch shit. You know damn well if you had to go back into them, what they come to Hoosiers and shit. If you had to watch all that shit and it had to be only y'all, you'd be bored out your goddamn mind that you done seen what you done seen all this God-given gifts and talent. Yeah, we know everybody nickel down and trying to imitate the shit, but ain't nothing like the original, is it? All this copy shit, right? Kind of like R&B and all this shit, all this copy shit. The original dying out because the original ain't even doing the original trying to be a copy. That's our problem. Many of these originals are trying to be copied. And so we ain't creating shit no more. We trying to keep rehashing some shit that might be dead. You ever notice that? Like, there's a fad that happens, like for those who want to talk about hip hop culture, it had its day. It had when it was what it was, but it died. But it's like trying to beat a damn dead horse. Create something new. You're trying to hold on to something and everybody else done got into it and putting their flavors, like cooking some food. Motherfucker coming in the kitchen, throwing a little pepper over here. Somebody throwing some paprika over here. Somebody threw some salt in this motherfucker here. Somebody put some Lowry's. You understand? Next thing, like, damn, what the heck? This ain't the shit I was cooking. It's some other shit. When you gonna let that shit go and go back into that God creativeness and come up with something new? Because everybody done adopted that now. Everybody, they got people in there thinking they better than you. You know, that shit, that cube, that I swear down, they should have never let that motherfucker say that shit in that movie. You know what he said? You know what he said? He told the black, he said, I'm blacker than you on your best day. You could never be me. Huh? So that's what done happen with this so-called hip-hop culture. Motherfuckers coming in saying they better than you and what your shit is. It's dead. Come with something else. Go back in the laboratory and come out with something else. When the last time we done did something, y'all? So we dying out on our creativity? Look what Mr. Blow Your Mind do with his own show over here. These shows want to copy what they do, but you got to get the secret sauce. You got to know how to do the secret sauce. Got to go in the laboratory. Anyway, you got to go in the laboratory. So anyway, so I'm going here because they went and talked about, we got this bill, based on what took place on May 25th, 2020. And look what we did, y'all. Isn't this reform? Isn't this reform? Well, let me show you what they're talking about. Be right back, y'all.
U.S. lawmakers are working on their own police reform policies. Today, the House of Representatives passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. The bill would prohibit racial profiling, ban no-knock warrants in federal drug cases, classifies chokeholds as a civil rights violation, and establishes a national registry of police misconduct. Yesterday, the Senate attempted to pass their own police reform bill, but it was blocked by Democrats. State Representative Ted Budd says it's just another example of pointless partisanship.
Look, I support Tim Scott's bill, which evidently has been blocked in the Senate. This bill that's Democrats, I mean, it's pure partisan maneuvering. It's not going to pass the Senate. It's not going to get signed into law. It's just a messaging bill.
The differences between the two bills is the House bill puts more emphasis on setting national standards, while the Senate bill focuses on state.
Okay, so we back, right? We back, right? All right, so they came up the other day, came up with the HR 7120 bill called the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020, right? So according, they came with this is they trying to show that they're doing some police reform, right? And so, you know, they're using George Floyd name. You know, it's the name of names right now. And so I went and looked at this and I was like, all right, what they talking about over here, man? Okay, what they talking about? So according to this this Justice and Policing Act of 2020, this bill is supposed to be addressing the wide range of policies and issues regarding policing practices, law enforcement accountability. It includes measures to increase accountabilities for law enforcement misconduct, to enhance transparency and data collection, and to eliminate discriminatory policing practices, right? Now, you know how they do. They'll paint it up, make it smell a little good, put some Febreze on it, put a little sugar on it, right? Make it sound good, right? So let's look in the guts of it, right? So it says the bill facilitates federal enforcement of Constitution violation. Right there. Listen to that. Federal? Federal. Do federal police be dealing with us like that? Is that state and city? Right? So right there, it's already something not right. Well, it ain't smelling right, right? And again, violations of excessive use of force. Now, those who in federal, you know, in federal court, federal penitentiary, that might apply for you. But what about those on the street? Cities and, you know, right? What is that going to do? But it says by state and local law enforcement, among other things, it does the following. Now, see, that's separate. Now, they said lower the criminal intent standard. So you're going to lower the criminal intent on police officers, like, say, for instance, qualified immunity doctrine. I was supposed to do that over here. I think I got that. I could pull that up and play that. Could I do that? I could do that, right? Because I don't think I even put that over here. I don't know if any do. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. Well, put it this way. I'll do it this way. So, qualified immunity doctrine is what they said. A lot of police have been hiding that keeps them from being, you know, accountable. Because really it was made for, let's say, legislators and stuff like that, but they somehow they embodied in it too, right? So they saying in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act that is going to lower the criminal intent standard from willful to knowing of what it says of recklessness to convict a law enforcement officer for misconduct in a federal prosecution. There you go again. Federal. What are you talking about? What do you mean federal? Limit quality. Now here you go. Limits qualified immunity as a defense to liability in a private civil action. Only in a private civil action, a law enforcement officer or state correctional officer authorizes the Department of Justice to issue subpoenas and investigations of police departments for a pattern or practice of discrimination. The bill also creates a national registry. So now they supposed to report All this is fluff. This ain't nothing but fluff, man. The National Police Misconduct Registry to compile data on complaints and records of police misconduct. It establishes a framework to prohibit racial profiling at the federal, state, and local levels. The bill establishes new requirements for the law enforcement officers and agencies, including to report data of use of force incidents, to obtain training on implicit bias, racial profiling, to wear body cameras. Shit you've already been doing. That don't work. That shit don't work, man. We ain't hear nothing as to accountability. Accountability. If I can get it, you can get it. You can't say you can uphold the law and you as minister, but then it don't apply to you. Why is it that that's so hard for them? Why is that so hard that what's good for the goose is good for the gander? Why is that? You understand? Because we already know that the whole creation of that whole organization, when it's systemic and goes back to, that's what it's about. So obviously this ain't gonna pass, right? So it's just fluff right now. That's all. It's just fluff. Making it seem, oh, look what we're doing. That ain't no reform in that. Ain't you talking about federal? What are you talking about federal for, man? See, that's what they don't like about the black media, the corner of the black, black social media and all that. Because if once we all looking at this and then we start talking about it, saying we start talking about what we hear and we're talking about, then they ain't sliding it through on us like that. See, and that's what's the significance, importance of having black news, independent media. Now, everybody's not going to be as proficient and everybody's not going to be to everybody's liking, but you find somebody somewhere that whether you get a good feel for them or whether the pertinence of their facts or whatever it might be, but find somebody because motherfuckers trying to slide shit past us. There used to be a time when you could slide that past and you didn't hear us being our murmurs. Now we can murmur about, hey, that's fluff, man. Y'all trying to do that. We ain't no, that's not reform. You're going to throw somebody's name on it and then come back and see, look what we did. They ain't done nothing. Ain't trying to do nothing. So that's what it is, y'all. So that's all good. I'm trying to cut these shows and get them not to be as long. Again, I got one aspect together. I got to get the other aspect together. I'm gonna have to get me a new help over here because they've been sleeping a little bit. So I'm gonna get that together. But I want to thank each and every one of you for coming today. I just want to tell y'all about that, just in case you didn't know, right? That's what it is, y'all. We just got to keep watching as they keep trying to shuffle shit and trying to slide it in and then acting like they doing something. Say, look, okay, you guys okay? Are you cool with this? All right. We gave you something. We reformed. Okay, we're not going to tell all that defunding and stuff, but look what we did. We're going to make them more accountable. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, man. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get up out of here, sir. Again, get one more of those before we go up out of here, just in case. Somebody been sitting on their hand and not doing what they supposed to do. So get one of them before we get out the door. Get the other one. Yeah, get the other one. All right, check that out. I'll be right back. to thank each and every one of y'all for clicking on the video today. Black Minds News Report. Bringing something up till we get up to par. Remember, we had been gone for a little bit, so I had to clean up on some of the stuff that I hadn't done prior. We're going to get it going. We're going to have some other stuff. We'll have some interviews and people on the show and so forth. We're going to take it to the next level. We're going to do what we got to do over here. Okay? We're going to turn it up, and eventually, you're going to get to see Mr. Blow Your Mind. So, again, when you see your brother, greet your brother. What's good, brother? What's good, brother? When you see your sister, what's good, sister? What's good, brother? If you can't do that much, just give a universal now. You know how we do. See, brother, what's good, brother? What's up? What's up, right? You know, we living in a time that some people are seeking for our demise. So it's incumbent that we, BADOS, stay vigilant, mindful, and keep our hearts and spirit open. Because, as they said, the Civil War, that's like what somebody trying to get us to go, right? But they can't tell you why they need to go there. But your greatness resides inside what they call melanin, the God particle. Something you can only wish you could have. I remember the story talking about with Jesus with Nicodemus, and I think they had a conversation with each other. Nicodemus asking Jesus to say, hey, what is for a man to be reborn again? Jesus said the only way a man could be reborn again is to go back to the way he came in. See, baptism, reborn again, don't mean what you think it meant. It means that those who were the story of Gehazi, the curse of Gehazi, they had a time to get back into the melanin family, but they chose to stay out because of some of them, they hatred and fangs. Now that the time done came, guess what? Can't get in now. You can't make too much more. The door's been closed. So guess what? Only thing they got left is what they talking about. When that don't work, then what? And this is your host, Mr. Blow Your Mind, and it's been another Black Minds News Report. To the next show, yo! To the next show!